I really love coffee, and so that's just kind of been a natural progression about learning more about coffee and the different steps of, from the growth of the plant to the cup and everything that requires, and how each step in that affects the process and the way ultimately that the coffee tastes. It's beyond just like put coffee in a portafilter and then like push a button. There's knowing how the grind is affecting the way the water's coming through, how the temperature, where the coffee's grown. All of those are factors. But coffee ultimately is like a fine wine, and so the more you know, the more you can kind of control the environment and understand how each element affects the coffee. Even like on a daily basis, coffee's changing. So we can start, we time our shots to kind of get a consistency of how you're doing it. And in the morning, you can start it off, and you're getting shots that are coming out 26 seconds, and then all of a sudden it gets hot in the afternoon, and that'll fluctuate the way the coffee is pulling. The flavors are going to be completely different. You're going to have more bitter tastes that come out. You'll have sweeter tastes that come out. And that's all. That's just a variable of like what the coffee actually is too. I want to make sure customers are getting what they want. So if they want a foamier 60-ounce latte, I'll make them a foamier 60-ounce latte. You'll notice a huge shift in coffee in the last 5 to 10 years, where it becomes a lot more about the presentation. Like, we know what coffee can taste like, but people want to be blown away by presentation now. And a lot of times, not the aesthetic proves how good something is, but the aesthetic shows something beyond the taste. It shows a passion for the product that can only be expressed in the presentation. You can taste a cup of coffee and be like, oh, this is good, but the way it's presented, does my latte have latte art? It doesn't dictate whether or not it's a good latte, but probably if it has latte art on the top, the person making that cares enough about the coffee that it's going to taste good too. And so you have all of these different senses being used in determining a good cup of coffee. There's something more going on there. The person cares a little bit more, or there's a passion for this person and what they do. When coffee took off for me was when it stopped becoming just a job of like something that I did to make money, but all of a sudden it became like a craft. How can every cup I make show somebody that there's effort, that there's passion, that there's something more than just pushing a button and here's your cup of joe. It's like this is meaningful and it matters. There are farmers in other countries that are making this. That there's a roaster that's putting time and effort into how can I make this coffee taste the best by the way I cook it. There's the barista that what's the best possible way to prepare this cup. So when you add all those elements together, suddenly a cappuccino, a cup of coffee is more than just a cup of coffee. Something that's done with passion across the board has the ability to inspire people. And so I think coffee is very much that way. It started out as a daily drink for people, and it's kind of blown up into an inspiring thing for people to write in coffee shops, study in coffee shops, musicians that are drinking and making good coffee. It's not just pumping out coffee to pump out coffee, but crafting every cup.